Hey, welcome to Lead, Grow, Live. This week we have John Williams. Now, if you've never heard of John Williams, by the time you watch this episode, you're going to know an awful lot about what he's doing in the community to help other people. He is the founder and president of Love of People. He also owns Quality of Life Services. And I think you're going to find so much that is going to be meaningful to you. So here's John's episode. Man, I got to tell you, it has been a challenge getting you in because you're so busy.
Yeah. Well, and I'm busy with the things that I feel called to do.
That's right.
So
yeah.
It's not like just busy running crazy anymore.
So let's get right into it. I want to talk about everything you're involved in, your nonprofit, Quality for Life Services. Start wherever you want to start because I find it all fascinating.
Being blessed to have people in my life growing up, my maternal grandfather, my father, my uncles, they were all businessmen. They were all entrepreneurs. So definitely my environment helped make me who I am.
Yeah.
And, so I always had a awareness that I was going to create something and work for myself. So that's my biggest blessing. That'll be my start.
Yeah. So I guess the one who may have had the most influence might have been your father in this world, in this area.
Yeah, and where I am now with how my private company, created or brought back his nonprofit, that life of service, it wasn't required. It was just a way of life.
Yeah.
The quick funny story I always tell is when I was younger, I always played Santa Claus for his community Christmas gumbo. I mean, I was 6'2" in the 8th grade, so I was a big Santa, But whenever I met my wife now, but my girlfriend at the time, I think it was in 2001 or 2, and my dad said, "So you gonna play Santa Claus for me this year?" I'm like, "Man, no, I'm not gonna embarrass myself in front of this girl." And then so I come back to our apartment. We were living together at the time, and I get back to the apartment, and she's like, "Look what your dad got me. He got a Mrs. Claus outfit."
That is outstanding.
In that moment, I could literally hear God's voice saying, first, obey your father.
That's right.
And then what I heard him tell me is, you can be doing this for the rest of your life. Serve.
Yeah.
So,
and she's the one.
And she, well, obviously, because she was excited about it. And I let it go, man. I just let it go and went into it.
Yeah, I love that. I was going through the site, and one of the things that hit me the most is your tagline. But when you break it down, it's exactly what y'all do, helping others help others.
Yes, sir.
And like you had mentioned earlier, talk about your dad and how his philosophy is flowing into
Oh, man. I watched my dad for my whole life, give. He's a retired pharmacist. He had a grocery store. And I just watched him give people what they needed his whole life. I think, and what I've grown past with me is that he gave with a clean heart, good intentions, but somewhere in the back of his mind, man, if I ever would need, then I know I can call this person.
Yeah.
And that was something that when I started independently doing it, I knew I was like, I'm just going to blindly, if God has given me these gifts, then I'm going to let them go. And I'm not going to have any expectation on the back end. And in doing so, right off the bat, from my first community event, I found one of my first caregivers for my private company.
Yeah.
And because I wasn't asking for anything, I didn't expect anything. I was just doing what I knew I was capable of doing.
Yeah.
So my dad, 100%, is responsible for me utilizing my gifts to bless others.
Yep.
And then it was Marcelle Citron. She was the matriarch, the first client I ever had in QLS. She was the one that told me I wasn't crazy, for just giving.
Yeah. Well, I know I have an aging mother, and you and I have talked about the services QLS offers, and it's such an important offering.
Yeah.
Because and I believe there's a gap in the marketplace because we all at my age, I'm turning 60 next month. I still can't believe that. My mother is 83, and technology is passing those folks by.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, passing them by, and it's really hard to pay bills. Some, like the phone company, wants you to pay them over the phone, like cell phone company, and they don't do it. You know, I'm not saying that they couldn't or that, but if they don't have a laptop, if they don't understand how Wi-Fi works, and they don't, you know, they have a mobile phone, but they use it as a phone. You know what I mean?
They make it impossible for them to manage their own lives.
It is. And then you pass that down to your children, and they have lives.
Yep.
You know, I'm putting 3 kids through college, and, you know, I got a lot to do. And so there's a gap where people need help.
Yeah.
Not only the aging parent,
But their children.
but the adult children.
Yes.
And you need help, and y'all step in. So how do y'all do it? What do you do?
I got to that point for a little over a decade. I was a nurse, and I mainly worked in like geriatrics, med surg, you know, even ran a few nursing homes. And the passion for what I do came from always hearing these older people refer to themselves as a burden on their family, you know, or the reality of, even though you got money in the bank, you still go do without because you don't want to bother your kids.
Yeah.
I believe that baby boomer generation, you know, and before them, like your parents, I believe they did a very good job on setting y'all up in becoming successful. And it pained me to see your parents' generation feel like, well, I don't want, you know, my son has a lot to do. I don't want to bother him. And they do without a lot of basic needs just to not feel like a burden. So that was the passion of my company. Because I'm like, surely, you know, we can help maintain your independence, re-empower you, and then also give your children the peace of mind knowing that you're taken care of. Because there are people out there that can afford that on a private level. The services didn't exist. And, you know, it didn't come out of my head or anything like that. It was when God commanded me to go and take care of his angel, and he was referring to Marcel Citron. I mean, there was a physical presence that pulled me out of my chair and said, go take care of my angel. And I walked up to one of her sons, and not even knowing what I was going to do, I said, I believe I can help take care of your mom, you know. And I didn't even know. And it was Todd Citron. And Todd says, you're hired. I'm like, wait a minute, buddy. I'm I don't even know
There's no company yet.
Like, hold on. And this was a Friday, and my shift was ending in about an hour or so. And I told this man this. He's like, you're hired. I'm like, hold up. And then in that moment, God literally started showing me what this was going to be. So I get off my shift. I call my mom, Pam Williams. She actually ran all of Allied Health for Lafayette Regional Technical College. And she was the head nursing instructor, now SLCC. For over 30 years, she did that. So I knew I had a reference right there, you know. So I get off shift. I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, you know, I got to do this. And then she was like, okay, baby. So the next morning, I go to Office Depot, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to need a business card or something. I still didn't even know the name of the company. But I just was like, my steps were like literally ordered. You know, I started writing on just computer paper towards the end of that shift on Friday, like how I can organize this, create this life care plan. Like, it was just coming to me like lightning. It was amazing.
That is amazing.
I still feel it, you know. And so I go to Office Depot, and one of the most divine parts is that I'm in line to tell the lady that I need a business card without knowing the name, no logo. I call my sister, Alicia, and I'm like, hey, I need a logo for my company. And then she's like, what's the name of the company? I said, Quality of Life Home Management Services. There was 2 more people in front of me. She pulls up whatever. It was a little stock image of some hands holding a house. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. And then Todd always said it looked like palm trees on the side of a house. But at any rate, it was great. And she sends me that. And then I get in line. And then I said the name, and the business card came out. And then crazy. I spent that weekend developing a binder. And my mom helped me do that. And then Monday morning, I was in Todd's office. I presented to him what I had. And like he said on the Friday, I was hired, you know. It was such a divine intervention that occurred. It was no mistake.
Yeah,
of what I was
no
here
doubt
to do.
about it.
Yeah, no doubt
literally no doubts
at all
about it. And it's really become quality of life services.
Yes,
Am I right?
DBA quality. It's really quality of life home management services.
Got it.
Because I wanted to make sure that I was empowering my client. You know, so what we do, we come in and we actually create, you know, a pseudo nursing home environment in your home. You know, whenever you're like you going to your mom's house, you know, every time you go, you have to, you know, make sure you clean the dishes. You got to make sure she has laundry clean, and you know, and you, as a son, you kind of have that moment where I got to go to mom's house again, and I didn't want my clients' children feeling that.
Correct.
So we don't just provide sitters; we have life care partners, and these people are here to help you live your life. So you know, I don't pay people to sit. You know, so do things in the home that helps when you go visit your mom, you have that peace, and now you can just sit down and just go back to being a son.
That's right. That's right.
So we take all of that and we help manage all that.
Such important work. That's amazing. I really do appreciate you sharing how that came to you. Yeah. I love that the Citron family was part. There's such a big family here in Lafayette, Upper Lafayette, and how they were a part of this creation, but really everything came to your heart and your mind, and you got it going.
Yeah, I still get the chills thinking about it. You know, when I was, like I said, I grew up in this life of service and entrepreneurialism, and at 15 years old, I knew God had a calling on my life. I didn't know what it was, you know, I just knew that it was a higher purpose. So I always, what my dad would say, mind your P's and Q's, son. So I always kept myself at some level of check because I knew that I had something coming.
So what told you at 15? Do you mind sharing?
At 15, what it was, I'd almost gotten into an accident. Mm-hmm. I was driving my dad's tractor because, you know, my dad had our house, his mom's house, my grandfather, his store. And so I would drive the tractor around town, cutting all these different lots. And I let go of the clutch, tractor pops up, the steering wheel pops off, and I'm headed to this off of exit 7 is this dead man's curve, they call it. And I'm headed into this culvert. And my brother was following me behind me on the truck. And like my brother has like the worst memory. He's total opposites, he and I. We're a lot more alike now than we were then. But, you know, and he saw it and I felt it. But under my knees and on my back, it's like I felt myself just come up.
Oh my goodness.
And I just felt like I was placed on the ground on my feet, and the tractor went into the culvert. And it was like, so, and my brother even said from behind, he was like, dude, you didn't jump off the tractor. He was like, you just went straight up. And that's what he said. And my brother, you know, he's a spiritual person, but he's a very literal person, you know, so he wouldn't have said it unless he really saw it. And I felt it. And so in that moment, I knew that God had something for me. And that kind of was a double-edged sword, that I was humble about it. I kept it inside. I was always afraid to talk about it. People think I was crazy or whatever, but I knew that calling was there. But the negative side was that for a long time, it did create this almost arrogance that, all right, I know I'm going to do something. I know God got my back. So I was a little...
You can do anything. You're wide open.
I was a little more testy than I should have, and pushed the envelopes a few times.
Yeah, that's great.
And but it was in my nursing career, God tried to call me down, and I blew myself up, 3rd-degree burns.
Oh my goodness.
And it was a humbling experience, but didn't quite humble me enough. And then in my going into my 2nd year in my company, he really called me down, and I caught diverticulitis.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any stomach issues at that point. My intestines shut down for 2 weeks. I just scheduled my 3rd client, Mr. Jack Cochran, and I'm like, I can't. afford to get sick. And, being a nurse for all these years, I know what y'all are going to do. You're going to put me in the hospital, pump me up with morphine. I'm going to be stupid out of my head. I won't be able to function. So thank God for Chad Heinen, my doctor at the time. And he would FaceTime me. He took care of me from home. I would check in with him. I didn't have to do all this pain medicine. But in this time of being home with my intestines shut down, it did two things. One, I could hear God tell me, son, I called you to do my work, but not by yourself. And I could hear that loud and clear. So in year 2 of my company, that's when I at least knew, hey, I gotta take care of myself some way.
Correct. And you can only do so much.
So much, yeah.
And so you had already talked about how you were at one of the events and you met your first caregiver. Mm-hmm. How'd that go? I mean,
it was amazing.
And was that your very first hire?
No, my very first hire was actually my wife, her first cousin.
Got it.
She never really had been in the workforce. Didn't even have a driver's license. I'm like, come on, girl. And I taught her how to drive. I'm like, you could be, I even gave her my car and I put her with Marcel Citron. And over the years, that's Ashley Pillars. And over the years, they became best friends. It was amazing. So she was my actual first hire. And then a couple of months into it, we were at a community Christmas gumbo. And this was the second event I'd ever done. My first one was Community Thanksgiving in November. We opened in May of 2013. And then so November and then December with the gumbo. And we're at Sunset, I'm doing it. And I just noticed this lady picking up trash. And I didn't ask her to pick up trash. She just was starting to do it. And her daughter was with her. I forget how old her daughter was at the time, but very young. And what I saw there was work ethic.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you to pick up trash. You're doing what needs to be done. I'm like, hold up. So I went and I introduced myself to her. Turned out she was working at a, ratty motel, weekend nights, cleaning motels for maybe 10 cents over minimum wage. Yeah. And she was a single mom. And that was I hired her. And then she came and started working with Miss Marcel. And she actually worked with Marcel all the way through her passing. And then Miss Marcel passes, and about 4 weeks later, and I didn't have another client for her, about 4 weeks later, Todd calls me. He's like, John, I need a secretary for Hub City Ford. And I'm like, well, the lady.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, till today, that young lady is still working at Hub City Ford.
That's incredible.
Getting paid more than I could pay her, sure. And with health benefits and everything. And now when I see her and her daughter at ACA in the art gallery. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just really to go from picking trash without being asked. Yep. God has put me in a position to really identify people, meet people where they're at, and offer opportunity for growth.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah. So how many caregivers do y'all have now with Quality of Life?
Around 80.
80 caregivers.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That is beautiful, man. So I guess you use the same values that you saw in that first caregiver. Service without
above self.
That's right. That's right.
Service above self. And to your point of lead, I lead by example.
Yeah.
And I'm old school. So it's like, I'm not going to ask you to do anything I'm not willing to do myself times 10. And if I have to ask and you're watching, I lead by example. If I have to ask you to do it, then I don't need you. Yeah. Because I've already shown you that I'm willing to do it. So if I'm asking you to do it, you should feel honored and get to it.
Oh, man, that is huge. That is huge. So my light bulb moment is when, it's like, aha, we need to hear this. Leading by example, and what you said was, I'm willing to do it times 10.
Yeah, all day.
Regardless of what it is. I love that, man. And so many leaders need to hear that because we do get away from that on purpose, right? So we can lead other people managing and other people.
You have to get to the point where you're managing the higher, bigger relationships.
You do.
And that, for me, has been my blessing with Love of People, my nonprofit, because that will keep me humble.
Yeah.
And I have children to raise, and I want to raise them doing that. I'll bring them to board meetings. I can care, hey, if I can't do business with you with my kid sitting here and he's well behaved, and we don't need to do business, you know. The function hands-on, that's why I keep that nonprofit going, because I'm raising my kids in it.
Yeah, but look, before we go any further, I want to make sure we distinguish the two things.
Yes, sir.
You have a nonprofit called Love of People.
Love of People.
And Love of People holds different types of events, community events, and you know, you do a lot. And the mission really is to teach people how to serve their community through serving the community.
Yes.
And getting more people involved. Huge, right? That's an aha moment. You also have a for-profit business called Quality of Life Services,
yes,
where you go into people's homes and you fill the needs of the elderly person or the person who needs, you know, service.
Assistance. Yes, sir.
Assistance. And it not only helps that person, but it helps other caregivers be able to live lives and have everything you do is about what I do.
Yeah, I know. It was crazy when I started looking you up.
It's crazy because in the end, we start a company so we can have a life, right? And so we can give, and so we can do everything that you're doing, which is why I just love what you're doing. And I want to help any way that I can.
Well, I appreciate you highlighting that, you know, and after 12 years now, to your point, like we said before we started recording, you know, I'm just getting to that point of needing to live my life.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the growth in my company, you know, that happened because I was always hands-on. But when I had my first son, and definitely by the time I had my second son, I tell you, that little whipper, he whipped me into shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, 2 kids in private school and everything like that, you know, I'm a minimalist. I don't really need much, you know, but they need more. You know, even growing up, my parents were both successful, and we were raised, we had everything we needed, very little of what we wanted, but everything we needed.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, so that's why we still have the income to continue to give to Love of People. But I had to dial down a little bit, because I was giving a lot. You know, even my CPA and accountant are like, "You're tripping now." You know?
Well, and that's that middle area where I'm not big enough to where I have to have my hands in everything. Mm-hmm. You have to grow it to a point where you can take on the leadership roles, give those management roles, and the doing of the things to other folks, right?
Yes, sir.
And then lead that. So how have you grown successfully other than you just beating the streets, making phone calls, making connections, holding these events, finding great people to help? I mean, is there...
It really was organic, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I said, you know, 6 months into the company, you know, and I do a lot of this with my heart, but it's expensive to keep you home, you know. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I watched a lot of these same entrepreneurs I mentioned in the beginning, like my dad, my grandfather. My grandfather's company is still operating today. My father's company isn't. When I started making money, real money, I didn't know how to handle that.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know, you know, I'm paying all these employee taxes, and what you mean, Uncle Sam? I owe you another $80,000. Like, what are you talking about? You know. Yeah. So in that moment, I'm like, hey, come on, Love of People, I'm bringing this back. I'm gonna give it away until I figure out how to handle it, how to manage it. So in all honesty, that was organic.
Yep.
And then meeting that lady picking up trash was organic. I didn't start Love of People with any other intention but to help other people, give it away. Until I figured it out. And then, so I start doing these community events, and the community starts recognizing, and then all of a sudden, you know, Rotary Club wants me to join, and then they want me to be on the board of directors. Then ACA wants me to be on the board of directors. So then I start getting on board of directors because of my community impact. And then I look around, I'm like, hold up, these are QLS customers.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was organic, you know.
Yeah.
I never beat the street. And our common friend we have in common is Scotty Baudouin. He still gets on me about not making calls.
Yeah.
Because my way to connect was by connecting people in the community.
Right.
That was the way I marketed. You know, that was the way I got in those rooms.
Yeah.
To where people could find out what I do and help them.
Man, I love that. So now that you've gotten this thing to a point where you really do have a team, how's it impacted your life?
Man, is my peace of mind is there. Again, with my dad my dad was in that store from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week for all 40 years that business existed. Wow. So if I wanted to be, and my dad was a great provider, you know, if I wanted to be with my dad, we had to go to the store, you know.
Yeah.
And the day I started my company, I started building it in a way that when I would have kids, that I would be able to be present. So how has this team impacted my life? Like I told you, I lost my voice Saturday because I'm the assistant baseball coach for my son. I spend, like today when I leave the office, I'm going to bring my oldest son to Taekwondo. I'm able to be present with my kids.
Yeah, that's huge.
In the things that they're doing. I played baseball from T-ball to college. And honestly, I can count on one hand how many games my dad came to. However, I always had a good bat, a bat bag, cleats.
Yeah.
I was at every practice. I was at, you know, I had everything I needed to do what I wanted to do, which was play baseball. And the fact that now that I'm a father and I'm able, damn, it makes me want to cry. But the fact that I can be present with my sons, that's all I wanted.
Yeah. And you know what? That's all your dad wanted for you.
Yep.
You know, he got in the situation where he's a service provider as a pharmacist. Mm-hmm. And unless he got it to a point where he could have other pharmacists working,
he had one employee.
He was the pharmacist
the whole time. He was the pharmacist. He ran the front end. He was the cashier. He did it all. He had two employees over all that time because, you know, he didn't know how to do that. Yeah. You know, he didn't know how to do it.
But he got it done.
He got it done.
Even though it cost a little bit of time, right? You know what I mean? It taught you a lesson, and we all want our kids to do better than us. And he was successful in that. I'm curious, your grandfather's business is still going. What is that?
Peter Smith Sr., he, with a third grade education, became one of the first Black elected officials in the state of Louisiana. He also, with a third grade education, he was a master plumber, electrician, and carpenter. And he had multiple rent houses that he, again, helped people out. He was the mayor of Grand Coteau and Sunset is whenever he got. Yeah.
Kidding.
And this was like in the mid to late 50s, you know. And I come across some of these judges now, like these older white judges that even retired from St. Landry Parish. And when they find out who I am, they're like, man, I remember sitting in your grandfather's courtroom because back in the day, the mayor was the judge.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, in times of segregation and everything, here's my grandfather sitting on
oh my goodness.
in the judge's area sentencing white guys, you know. Yeah. And these are some retired judges now that are like, it was just the most amazing thing. So growing up again, like I said in the beginning, to have some of these mentors in my life growing up, my grandfather taught me there is no excuse. There's no excuse. Get the job done. The accountability piece, the work ethic piece, that was my maternal grandfather, Peter Smith. And so now, even till today, his sons, my Uncle Peter Smith Jr., my Uncle Carlos Smith, they still operate that plumbing, carpenting, and electrician business. That's incredible.
It really is.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Their sons. Or, you know, I have first cousins that are AC refrigeration, master plumbers.
Yeah.
It's still going and it's not going to stop.
That is amazing. So you've had some strong, both male and female, but strong male mentors and influences in your life.
Yes,
and I know your mother was too.
My mom was stronger than all of them.
Isn't it unbelievable?
Yeah. My paternal grandmother, Mary Louise Williams, and my paternal godmother, my dad's older sister, Mary Williams, they put my heart in my chest.
That's beautiful.
My integrity, my empathy, my compassion. I would not be the man I am today without those women in my life. And then my mom taught me to balance.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I have a big old heart, but you better not cross this line. You know what I mean?
Kind of the same way.
So that's how these amazing people, male, female, that's how I was molded into this.
Ultimately, and you're doing so much good. You literally, and I don't mean to be corny here, you literally are helping others help others.
Yes, sir.
I,
By leading by example, you know.
Yeah.
Because with love of people, you know, when I did my first community Thanksgiving, I did 150 meals. Last year for Thanksgiving, we did 5,000. That growth, I can't afford all that on my own, you know, but it took me 8 or 9 years to even ask my friends for help, you know.
Yeah.
And after all the time and money I've invested on my own self-funding these projects, it's like when I ask you to cut a check, I'm not asking you to do anything I haven't done times 10.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
that's right.
And I've shown by example. Now come on and help me, you know?
All right, so I want to break it down, if you don't mind.
Let's go.
With the community events.
Yes, sir.
I know you do the Thanksgiving,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to talk about each one briefly. I know you do Christmas.
Yes, sir.
I know you do Blues Mondays.
Blue Monday, yes,
Blue
sir.
Monday, I need to talk about that because
Yes,
I want to learn more about that. And there was one more I saw.
We do Williams Bros Diaper Drive.
Diaper Drive. I would really love to hear, because the community needs to hear this.
Yes, sir.
So they can get involved and help out. Diaper Drive. How'd that get started? What are you doing?
When we found out we were pregnant for my first son, Julian, so it started as Julian's Diaper Drive. We had a co-ed baby shower at Jefferson Street Pub. And I told people, and we would go party. You know what I mean? I knew I was going to be a father. I had to discern that I wasn't a priest.
Oh, wow.
So I always knew I'd be a father.
Yeah.
Thinking priest. Thank God I went to Casilla. And I was able to discern, no, you're going to be a father to your own sons.
That's right.
But you're going to help all my children. You know, so I was able to discern that. So when we found out that my wife was pregnant for Julian, we were blessed. The company was going. I think it was, 3 years old or something like that. And we didn't need anything. So I told people, bring diapers to the co-ed baby shower. Side note, I had one of my good friends, Jason. I walked outside and he's on the phone with his wife, and his face was just in shock. And she was like, "Are you still at the baby shower?" And he was like, and he hangs up the phone, he looks at me, he's like, "Never in my life did I think I would get fussed at for being at a baby shower." But we were going in. This baby shower was amazing. People still talk about it. But I asked everybody to bring diapers, and I don't think they really got it. They didn't understand it. I guess they thought I was getting diapers for ourselves. So, we ended up getting like maybe 5 or 6 cases of diapers. And then my wife and I, we went out and bought more cases. But then we brought and donated them to Baby and Me Boutique, which is the Desarmo Foundation.
Yep.
And they do amazing work.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, my God. And I found them because of that. Brought them to a few more other women's shelters, but that's where that came from. And my intentions with the diaper drive was that I wanted my sons to understand, even before you're born, when you hit this earth, your birthday, you're celebrating your life, but what are you doing with your life?
Oh my goodness, that's great.
So from day one, before my son was even born, I planted that seed.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, my brother, after 8-9 years, now when it comes to my son's birthday, he's not asking for a video game system. He's like, "Daddy, how many cases you think we're going to raise this year?"
That is amazing.
Dude, you can call it manipulative or whatever. But
no, you're teaching.
Got it.
You're teaching.
Yes.
And just like your grandfather, just like your father taught you, again, even in that, you're helping others help others.
I believe you create the environment. You allow people to get into the environment, and then you figure it out.
What's Blue Mondays?
Blue Monday. So this ring I wear is from Tommy Daig. That's my father-in-law, my wife's stepdad.
Okay.
He recently passed, but he was the coolest cat. He was a retired Navy vet. He was a retired postman working in California for all these years, and a DJ in California. His mail route was in Hollywood Hills, so the stories he had about DJing parties and delivering mail, and
I can only imagine.
He was just the coolest cat. And so I wear that ring and I'll just rub it, "Calm down, John," because he was just the most laid back dude. But about 10, 11 years ago, he says, John, because what he was referring to was he was saying that in town in Lafayette, he retired and moved back home. Tommy Daig. He says, man, for retired people, and specifically what he was talking about with black people, he says, I don't feel like there's anywhere I can go, feel safe and be able to have fun. And he says, John, you need to start a Blue Monday. You need to start a night where you get a DJ to play blues music, and he was gonna come DJ for me with DJ nothing but blues, and you just sell fried catfish sandwiches.
That was his vision.
That was his vision.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got that. So I go to Gus Resende, who at the time owned Jefferson Street Pub. And I spoke with Gus, and I told him, hey, I want to do this blues night. I'm going to do it on a Monday. And, Gus was like, John, this is not going to work. You can't do anything in town on a Monday. I'm like, wait, my market is retired.
Yeah.
Where every day is Saturday.
That's right.
So it'll be just
except Sunday, like my daddy used to say.
I'm gonna add that to it. What was your dad's name?
That was Dyke Martin.
Got it. I got it. I'm gonna give him credit.
Every day Saturday
except Sunday. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
So I went to Gus and I told Gus about it. And Gus was like, John, I'll give you the keys. You can do whatever you want, but go talk to Sammy Parbu first. So I went and I told Sammy what I wanted to do with the blues night, DJ music. And Sammy, he's very much deeply rooted in the culture. Sammy was the one that did the Lafayette Bicentennial. He managed all that. And he's also been heavily involved with Festival International for God knows how long. So Sammy is inundated with the culture. And so I told Sammy the concept, Blue Monday, and he said, well, John, he said, there's a whole bunch of blues musicians. Why don't you just have live music?
That is it. That is it.
What he also added was that, so you see, my private company took care of Sammy's dad for about 2 years. Amazing man. We took care of his dad. So he was aware of what my private company was able to do. So Sammy told me, don't do DJ, do live music. And he said, while you're doing it, why don't you try to raise some money to help these older musicians? And so it was always Blue Monday Jam, providing quality of life for aging musicians and artists throughout Acadiana.
John, that's great.
My brother, when I tell you I was finding, and God rest her soul, Carol Fran, her birthday is next month, 10/23/33. And I speak about her with so much reverence and respect. But this lady, she's considered like the queen of blues in like the true South, you know. Yeah. At 15 years old, she was singing in New Orleans for a can of Coca-Cola, and she created she's given for bringing the blues to Mexico, like she has all these accolades. And when I found her, barely running water in the house, struggling, and I say that with the utmost respect, because to the point we made earlier, when you get older, you don't want to be a burden, and she was grandiose. She had this amazing career. They want you to remember me how I was.
That's right. Not
how I am now. So the Blue Monday, every second Monday of the month, we're actually moving it to the Ruins now for October. It never really raised money. I mean, really to handle the problem of an aging musician or creative, I'd need like $100 million a year.
Yeah, sure.
But what that event has done, and now we're going into our 10th year, is that it helped me raise awareness for the people. Amen. That, hey, if you go to a venue and pay the cover, pay double. Most venues are giving the cover, the door, the people are playing for the door, tip the bucket, I used it as a platform to try to help these musicians.
Yeah.
And the things that have come out of that, but to answer your question directly, Blue Monday is a every second Monday of the month event where we use it to raise awareness and create support for provide quality of life for aging musicians and artists throughout Acadiana.
Golly, you are walking the walk, man.
Oh,
you are walking the walk.
I ain't playing that.
We may have to make 2 episodes here Man, I appreciate you sharing that because, like I said, you are not just talking the talk, you walking the walk, and you are truly making sure that, you're making things happen.
Yes, sir.
And then the outcome of that stuff is always for the benefit of somebody to live a quality life. Last two things, you already kind of touched on it. You started Thanksgiving dinners. And you've gone from 80 dinners to 5,000
5,000 on Thanksgiving Day.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy. Chad Terrio, I couldn't do this by myself anymore. You know, even the diaper drive, Alan Green, he stepped up but Chad Terrio came in 4 years ago. Now Rotary Club of Lafayette, they stepped in like 6, almost 8 years ago, and they were my workforce, so I'm doing it.
That's incredible.
You know. Yeah. And then Chad Terrio came in and just scaled it.
That's beautiful.
And now we produce all the meals in Sunset. And then Ray Flores with Industrial Safety Solutions, he takes 2,000 of the meals and he makes those at his spot in Youngsville. So we have the 2 production sites, and then within these communities from Opelousas to New Iberia, we distribute to community leaders there, and then they're able to get the meals to the people that need, So Community Thanksgiving has definitely lived that mission of helping others help others.
Yeah.
And the help I've received to get to here, it has nothing to do with me at this point.
Yeah, but you're the glue, what I mean? And you're the one that has the vision and you have the relationships.
Yes, sir.
And like you said from the very beginning of this episode, you're well, I don't want to say helping others to help others, but that it's what you were taught. It's what, like you said, you were built for, and you are making this happen, man.
Yes, sir.
And thank God for you. Then the Christmas. Tell me about that. And
the Christmas, I brought that back. My mom had gotten diagnosed with cancer, and she was retired, and retirement will kill you, quicker than cancer if you don't have something to do.
So many people need to hear that one. It's true.
It's true. You got to have something to do with yourself.
Always have a vision, that passion that you're pursuing.
And then, and also why retire with all that knowledge and not share it? I always say older people are better than Google any day. Any day. Yeah. So that's really why I brought Community Christmas Gumbo back, because both my parents were retired and I just saw them kind of like with nothing to do. So I'm like, Mom, let's do this. So my mom stepped in and came and helped. There's actually a funny picture of the first one. Maybe it was because I didn't have any toys the first one. I just did like Santa, I think a fireworks show in the gumbo. But she was like, John, you need to give these kids some toys. I'm like, okay. So that was year 2. So that picture's from year 2. But she stepped in and helped me with that. And it was just mainly, honestly, selfishly, I wanted my parents to reestablish some purpose.
Yeah.
And then what that's grown into now, I mean, we're doing thousands of toys for kids. We're doing hundreds of bowls of gumbo right there in Grand Coteau in the community. And the business owners that come to help pull that off, it's absolutely amazing. It's humbling. Then we host it at Trainwreck Inn in Grand Coteau now. It's a new little Airbnb down there. Yeah. And then we take all the toys, we load them up in trucks. We load Santa up in the truck. Kurt Richard is my Santa Claus. And we drive around the town into the different projects, into the hood, and we deliver the gifts and we deliver bowls of gumbo,
Oh, man.
It's amazing. That
is amazing.
Yeah.
Everything you touch, like you said, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of years and a lot of things. But I believe in my heart that what you're doing is truly touched by God.
Amen. Yeah.
And he's working through you.
Period.
So just keep it up. If I can ever help, not a hollow word.
Yes, sir. I feel that.
I want to be a part of that.
I feel that.
So keep it down, brother. Let's make this happen. Thank you so much for coming in.
I wanted to tell you one more thing, with the because it's not on Love of People's site. It exists differently, and it is a project that I'm currently working on now and will open, but it's kind of connected with you. But so it's called Bell's Tower, and it's a day space for people with dementia. I used to run dementia units and things in the way, and I wanted to share this project with you because it kind of ties it all in. But so I used to run dementia units, and I would use music to do a lot of, to get a person with dementia that stopped walking, to walk again. And so I have a space downtown on Monroe Street, and it's called Bell's Tower. It's a day space for people with dementia, but it's not like a daycare where you drop off your loved one. You come with your loved one. You bring your mom, or a friend can even bring their friend who has dementia, and you come, and we have it's an enriching garden that we've created because sound, smells, vitamin D from the sun, all this is therapeutic. But then we also have Mark Broussard, and I have Cal Fran's piano at this spot. But we use music to enrich the environment. When I tell you, when you can take someone with severe dementia and you start playing a song
from back in the day,
and they know the lyrics, it's like it stimulates this thing.
Yep.
And then I've seen more clearer days than not when people come. And I mean, if I can when it comes to dementia, when I can share a gift with somebody, with a child, where your mom or dad will snap and
start talking to you.
Oh my God.
Oh, look, that's amazing.
So we're working on that project. It doesn't exist on Love of People's website because it's big enough on its own. Mm-hmm. But it's bellstower.com. I hope to have that spot open, next month, early next month. It needs to open. I'm like a year and a half behind. So.
Thank God for John Williams. Thanks for tuning in to Lead, Grow, Live. Well, this has been one of the most enlightening episodes that I've been involved in. He just wants to help others help others. If you or somebody you know would be great on Lead, Grow, Live, I'd like you to reach out to me at Jeff@Company Growth Academy so we can help others lead their people, grow their company, and live their lives.